Hello, it's me, Mario. Woohoo! Welcome to the Vookcast. Let's go.
G'day folks and welcome to the Vookcast, Australia's Nintendo podcast. My name's Oliver Brandt and in this episode I'm joined by Angelo Valdivia
Hey Paisanos.
and Luke Henderson.
Hello there.
We've got a great episode lined up for you today. There's a bunch of stuff here. We've been off for a little while. But first, Angelo, I think there's something that you wanted to start us off with.
Hell yeah. So it was my birthday recently, humble brag, but my partner got me the Lego Game Boy set here. Hopefully it's not too fuzzed out because of the camera. So over the course of the podcast, I'm going to be building this and we'll do progress updates as we go. So I apologize in advance for any clickety-clacky sounds that you might hear, and hopefully my cat won't jump up and cause a huge mess because he's just bothering me at the moment. Also, yeah, he sits up here now. For those who are watching, this is all for those who are watching the podcast, by the way. He sits up behind me now, so just keep an eye out for him being stupid.
Hey, so the cat was there the entire time we were getting ready to record, and,
Yeah,
and my
gone
cat's
now.
here, and he's not there. One time
He's-
you actually point him out, he's not there.
He's having a snack at the moment. His food bowl's like down over here for just temporarily. Now he's kind of wandering around the room, but he'll be there because the window's there and he likes to look out the window. So
Well, the good thing is that we take so long with these episodes because we get so distracted and go on so many tangents that you should actually be able to finish this by the time.
yeah, we'll see.
Finish.
How do I open this bad boy? There we go. All right.
So yeah, we'll kick it off with our first story while Angelo struggles to open a box. Australia is getting a Pokemon Go City Safari. This is the first one that's happened for Pokemon Go in Australia. We kind of had a feeling this was going to happen a little while back. There was an area manager hired for Pokemon Go in Australia. This was shortly after Pokemon Go was announced to be purchased by Scopely. Yeah, they started putting a little bit more resources into Australia, and like we kind of assumed that was because they had planned on doing more events here. So yes, this is going to be an in-person city safari, as we've seen in other countries in the past. So this takes place on December 13 and 14. There's a Pokemon Go stamp rally, which, you know, you get stamps and stuff for visiting the Opera House, Royal Botanic Gardens, Manly Beach, and a bunch more. And for some reason, Mudbury is the event exclusive Pokemon for this, which, sure. Or what a shit. Like, you have Komala right there. Do Kangaskhan, Shiny, whatever. Like, Mudbury is just okay, man. Yeah. So this is nice. I guess. I kind of stopped playing Pokemon Go as soon as it was announced that it was being purchased by Scopely, because Scopely is wholly owned by Saudi Arabia's public investment fund, and frankly, I just don't want my location data being streamed 24/7 to Saudi Arabia. That's just as simple as it is. Like, it just
If that
seems
name
like
sounds
a bad
familiar
idea.
to people these days, they're one of the three groups that combined to buy Electronic Arts the other week.
That's true, yeah.
Quick
They also
progress check-in.
own.
My cat rubbed his face on the booklet and got cat boogers on it. That's all.
Yeah, look, I'm happy that this is happening. They were at DreamHack last year. The Pokemon Go folks were at DreamHack last year. It was a teeny tiny little kiosk wedged in like the foyer. It wasn't like anything grand or anything like that. But they've slowly started doing more and more local, well, not local things, but like more little pop-ups here and about. This is like the first big thing they've ever done here, which is nice. If you play the game, that's great. I have never, not even once, installed the game on any of my devices because I don't think it's a fun game look-wise. But, you know, I know a lot of people do like it, so, you know, yay for them.
Yeah. I mean, as I said, like, they, at least since the announcement of the acquisition, I don't think it's actually closed yet. It's expected to close early next year.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
since
Still,
the
this got to go
announcement,
through all the things and all that. Yeah.
yeah. But yeah, since the announcement of the acquisition, they seem to have been doing a lot more user-friendly stuff. Like you can now like do more raids and like big multiplayer events like remotely, which is really nice. They just recently changed the way that leveling works so that like people who are in rural areas don't have to do specific tasks to get up to level 50, where it was previously. So they're doing a lot of stuff that does make it more playable. It's just I don't want my location just being streamed to the government of Saudi Arabia. And
Yeah.
for the record, like obviously Saudi Arabia has like a history of human rights abuses, so like not great. But if it was any other country, I also would stop playing it. Like if my data was being streamed to the government of the United States, I would turn it off in an instant. You know, even the Australia, like any government, I don't want them having my location data 24/7. So, Angelo's dropped something.
So,
New
fun
progress
doing Lego
update. I
Lego
dropped like the smallest piece in the fucking bag, and I don't know where it's gone. This is going so well.
The one thing I will say for Pokemon Go, for Scopely more than anything, is as a business, Scopely do seem to understand what gamers want. The Monopoly game was their first big thing. So, you know, one can hope that they can sort of get more control over what Pokemon Go does. But, you know, as we know, the PIF, they are unfortunately throwing their noses into everything these days. They own little chunks of every company, including Nintendo.
Yeah.
So, yeah, they're not going away, unfortunately.
Yeah. And it's all sort of like this part of, you know, it's part of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia's attempts to clean up its image a little bit in sort of forcing its way into certain parts of the world. Like they own a bunch of like sports teams, they like international sports teams. They are doing a whole bunch of esports shit.
Oh yeah, the
I think
Esports
They're
World
about to
Cup
own
that has a
EA.
trophy that gets
Yeah.
stuck in some plinth in some plaza in Dubai, or whatever. That's an
Yeah.
I'm going to say this. That's a fucking piece of shit. Anyone who supports that needs to have their heads examined by a medical professional.
Yeah, no, they are about to own EA. They have a bunch of like stakes in other things, and like it's, you know, it's a strategy that is largely working for them at the moment. Like, I mean, they just had that whole like Riyadh Comedy Festival thing that was extremely controversial, and just all of the worst comedians you know went to it. So
Didn't even know it was happening. That's how much I
Yeah.
care about.
yeah. But yeah, so like it's great that Pokemon Go is like for the people who still are interested in playing it and are comfortable playing it. Like, it's great that there are more things for Australians to do, because we kind of have gotten the short end of the stick in Pokemon Go for basically as long as it has existed. So it's nice to see that we're being treated as a real region, than just a happenstance, you know.
Yeah, I mean, look, there's 100 other Pokemon games on mobile phones. If you really want Pokemon Fix on the go, you can play
Magikarp
Pokemon
Jump.
Cafe and Magikarp Jumps there. You can play Pokemon trading card game, play Pokemon the mobile one. Which I mean, if we're talking about bad people, like let's not go down that path. But there's plenty of other mobile focused Pokemon games that you can enjoy if you so desire.
God, Angelo is really just having a time of it. This is incredible.
Sorry, I'm trying to not be so much of a distraction, but my chair had caught up on the carpet when I was trying to look for that piece. I still haven't found it. My cat is also trying to chew on my Der Burger Lego set. He keeps chewing on the toothpick part up here, and that's why I was trying to shoo him away before. He's an idiot.
Alrighty. On to our next story. Nintendo did something weird.
Well, weirder than normal.
Weirder than normal. So just one day, out of the blue, Nintendo uploaded a video to Nintendo Today, and then eventually, like an hour later, to YouTube and social platforms, which sort of set the internet ablaze about speculation of a new game. It was kind of similar to what they did with Famicom Detective Club, Emio the Smiling Man, where they uploaded this teaser and then just like waited a while. and nobody really knew what was going on. In this case, it was like just a baby and like random floating shit, and it was like, what the hell is going on here? The next day, like 24 hours later, and this one was exclusive to Nintendo today. I think it is uploaded now somewhere.
No.
Really, still not.
It's not on the Nintendo America YouTube channel, and they put everything up there.
So yeah, it was revealed that it was Pikmin causing chaos in the baby's room. So like all of the floating things, that was just like Pikmin, and it's a very cute little video. Nintendo, you know, it's ended up not being anything about a game. It was just sort of Nintendo flexing that it had purchased Nintendo Pictures, which, sure. Nintendo Pictures is, I can't remember what their old name was, but they did all of the old Pikmin shorts, and they do a bunch of other stuff as well. They do shit tons of CG for all sorts of different shows and games and movies and shit. So
yeah, I'm just watching it now for the first time, and like the animation quality is like really good. Like this animation studio is top notch.
They were formerly Dynamo Pictures.
Yeah, Dynamo Pictures, that's it. But I think it's one of those things where it's like, I think if they had held off a little while and then just like waited until they had Nintendo Pictures, they could have probably done the Mario movie themselves, and maybe in a little bit better way. I mean, obviously the Universal partnership is you know, working out for them because they get to, you know, put their theme parks out and shit. But yeah,
I see this as more them potentially moving into that space. This is just them kind of like putting this out there as a, not really a test, but just, yeah, like you were saying, just a bit of a flex. Because they've already got these other 3D animation films in the works, I could totally foresee them doing like their own 3D animation film, like in like within the next 10 years or something like that. It'll take them like 5 years to get from concept to release or whatever, at least. Yeah. So maybe their first film would be like a Pikmin film or even a Kirby film or something like that they do in-house. But the thing about that though is, right, is talent. So like they're working with Illumination and DreamWorks or whatever to get the talent in, right, to get, you know, Chris Pratt in, etc., to actually do the voices and stuff like that. So while they would have the animation shops probably now or soon to actually make the film, it's more about like the actual production, like making a film, because it's a completely different beast to making video games, right? Completely different kind of pipeline, different distribution channels, different talent that you need, etc., etc.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it was really nice to see that this existed. I wish it had accompanied any kind of announcement rather than, like, if they were going to tease it out like this, having something there, like a Nintendo, even just a Nintendo Switch 2 edition of Pikmin 4, that would have been a fine thing to end on. But yeah, it's a little bit weird to like do this kind of tease, and then be like, oh, what is this? And then it's a Pikmin short, and then they're just like, yep, how'd you like our Pikmin short? And that was it. And it's like, what was the, like, you could have just uploaded the short and then been like, hey, we made a new Pikmin short, this is made by Nintendo Pictures, we own this now, expect more animated stuff in the future. And like, it wouldn't have gotten as many people talking about it, but it would have been a lot more honest way to put that forward and introduce it to the world. This just felt like needless teasing, to try and like artificially inflate interest in whatever is going on.
Yeah, my funny the thing I think is quite funny about all this is that they did this. People got, you know, there's a lot of speculation about, is this Pikmin? Is it not Pikmin? Rah, rah, rah. But over the past month, they've been dropping these Mario shorts, these stop motion Mario shorts online, mostly focused on Japan. I know there are viewable outside of Japan, but there's big push in Japan for that My Mario stuff. And like those things have just like coasted by completely unnoticed, because they didn't have this random push, you know, at midnight for us. So it's one of those things where it's like, it's funny that they're doing two different styles of shorts at the same time, and one is the one that got all the attention because it was just so out of it, so left field, and the other one's just, you know, coasted by. And the actual My Mario shorts are quite adorable. I still don't like the new voice of Mario, but that's just me.
Yeah, it was just a weird way, especially like doing it via Nintendo today, which like the exclusive things that we've seen in Nintendo today, apart from like, oh, what fart is Wario doing today, which is a thing that shows up sometimes in that app. Like a lot of the announcements or stuff like that have been for Nintendo Directs, where they'll announce it an hour before they put it on socials or whatever. So like this coming up at Nintendo today, it's like hey, this could be a big thing, and then yeah, it was just Nintendo showing off that it had bought a studio.
I mean, they did Splatoon Raiders in Nintendo today. That's where the trailer was for like an hour and a bit before it hit, the regular social stuff. And when I spoke with Nintendo at PAX, I said to them about this stuff on Nintendo Today, and they said, yeah, Nintendo Today is going to be their primary way of delivering things first. And I said, that's great. So you just need to make sure that all the notifications go out at the same time, because the notifications are broken in that app.
Yeah, it's really weird how the notifications work, because like I'll usually get notified first and like post something in our Vook Slack, and then like Daniel will like not see it in his app until he does like a full refresh. And then like 2 hours later, Daniel will get like the notification that's like, oh, this is in Nintendo Today now, and it's like it's already been uploaded to other socials and shit by that point. It's just, yeah, the notification situation there is a hot mess.
Yeah.
But apps are hard, I guess.
Well,
I mean,
Nintendo.
it's an interesting comparison to what what the video game industry is doing, right? While other publishers are requiring game studios left, right, and center, like Nintendo is announcing that they've bought an animation studio. I think it's interesting. They really are. Well, everyone is just trying to chase exponential growth in the gaming market, which is a complete fallacy, as everyone knows. It's a completely unrealistic dream. And then everyone else is now like chasing AI. Like Nintendo is now chasing film. So even though they were behind the mark in doing that, like they're completely diversifying. They've been opening up theme parks, like their own theme parks, in partnership with Universal, of course, but they're still their own theme parks. And now they're diversifying by getting into film and things like that. Like I think that's, for longevity, it's just a much more realistic goal for them. Without sort of burning themselves financially by getting into markets that don't exist and potentially will never exist, like with AI and exponential growth in games with service games, etc., and things like that.
I mean, My Mario is a great extension of that. Like, at no point did anyone at Nintendo have to commit to producing toys or clothes for 6-month-olds to 3-year-olds. Like, there's no need for that. And nobody at PlayStation or Xbox is gonna. Could you imagine a Halo themed, like My Mario Halo themed set? It wouldn't happen because Xbox don't have that sort of kid friendly attitude. But PlayStation wouldn't do it either because they don't have, apart from Astrobot, they don't have characters that would work in that format. But Nintendo do, and they're leveraging their characters in new mediums, which I think is fantastic because it just means that, yeah, maybe you haven't played a Nintendo game in 20 years, but you can read a Nintendo book or watch the Nintendo movie.
Yeah, I mean we've seen. Oh, you've just muted yourself, Angelo. You were already.
Oh, I'm an idiot. They're just making great strides into trying to be the Disney of games, like everyone's always called them out to be, for better and for worse. Like they also make stupid mistakes, like Disney does too. But yeah. Sorry, Ollie, go on.
Yeah, I was gonna say we've seen sort of similar stuff with from Pokemon in recent years. The Pokemon company has been like massively diversifying its the way that it exerts its influence, right? Like there's a whole bunch of like different merch lines outside of just like plushies, which is what we've had for the longest time. And they have stuff like Pokemon Concierge and a whole bunch of shorts, and we had Detective Pikachu, and just the games that we're seeing as well. Like they announced Pokopia, which is like a sort of cozy Animal Crossing kind of vibe. The Pokemon company is like really sort of expanding beyond just like shitting a game out once a year and occasionally doing a movie. They really are like
a great example
to become
is that
a more ever-present brand. Yeah, go on.
Yeah, I mean, a great example is in Universal Studios Japan. Pokemon is there, so as part of the Halloween celebrations, there's DJ Pikachu and DJ Gengar that are sort of promoting the Pokemon stuff. But in inside an existing theme park, they're building Pokepark Kanto. So building an actual like Pokemon themed land inside of a theme park. Now, it's obviously not going to have like giant animatronic Pokemon wandering about the place. They're just statues in the forest. But it's one of those things where they're doing that because they've got this range of characters, this range of IP that they can do more with than just rock paper scissors battle games. And yeah, I think there was like a little golden book, like a Pokemon little golden book recently.
Yeah, I think so. But like they also recently put out this book that is like the ecology of Pokemon, which is like essentially just a science textbook, but as if it was from the world of Pokemon, which is an incredible thing. I'm really hoping that gets
That's really
localized.
cool. That's pretty cool.
Because it's like yeah, just this big chunky book that is like, this is what Pokemon eat, and like this is like what a Pokemon skeleton looks like, and like it's really really cool. But it's only in Japanese so far. But I'm really hoping it gets localized because, yeah, it does look super neat.
His
we've
first
got a
cartridge. I think it's hilarious. So I'm spoiling anyone who hasn't built it yet, but I think it's hilarious that in the steps, the first thing you build is the first game card, the cartridge of Mario, and then the Zelda one's the last thing you build. It's like it's like, why not put them in the same bag? So
I have to
anyway.
say the like little lithographic screens are gorgeous.
Oh, yeah.
They're really cool. I
Yeah.
love these so much.
I also say that I've seen a number of people doing mod kits to make them actual Game Boys, and
Yeah.
it's fun to see.
There's a lady out in Melbourne, I think, who did one, and it looks amazing. It looks really really cool.
Bit of an odd one that I don't think anybody was really expecting, because it's been a while since the last time they did this. Sega has announced that they're doing a remake of Yakuza 3. So this is Yakuza Kiwami 3, and it's also coming with a new spin-off, which focuses on fan favorite character Mine, who was like the bad guy who kind of like turned into a good guy right at the end. Spoiler, sorry, fucking for anybody who is gonna play Yakuza 3.
Who hasn't played this 20-year-old game? Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, so Kiwami is like their subtitle for remake. Kiwami essentially just means like a redo or another attempt. Yeah. The Switch got Yakuza Kiwami last year. Later this year, I think it's like in a couple weeks even.
November 19 is, I
There we
think it
go.
is, for
So
the Kiwami 2.
about a month. There's Kiwami 2 coming to Switch 2, and Kiwami 1 is also getting a Switch 2 edition as well. Sorry, a Switch 2 version. I don't think it's an upgradable thing. And yeah, Kiwami 3 is coming in February 2026. So yeah, it has a whole bunch of new scenes and side missions. It has unfortunately taken away a couple things as well, but kind of just the nature of a remake is that you can't really necessarily include everything, but it is going to be expanded in other ways as well. Yeah, I mean, I've been sort of watching the fan response to this, and like people are kind of divided on whether or not this is necessary, and whether or not the new content is going to be worth it. And like people didn't like the Yakuza 0 director's cut additional cutscenes. I thought they were quite good, but anybody who's played Yakuza 3, like who's properly played it, like the original release of Yakuza 3, or even like the remastered release, will know that there is a lot that can be improved about it. It is a rough game.
The only thing I'd like to see them change is the name of the orphanage, because I think that's just the worst name you could give an orphanage.
It's not great.
And Angelo's like, I don't know what it's called. The orphanage in the game is called Morning Glory.
That is the correct incorrect name to give an orphanage. Yes, I agree.
I think it's funny that like Kiwami 2 obviously coming to Switch 2, sure, but that happened a long time ago for other platforms. But I think it's really funny that we got Director's Cut or Zero Director's Cut back in June, and that's coming to other platforms in and then within a year we're getting Kiwami 3. Like, it just seems like they may be doing these a little too fast. And I know some people are really happy that they're doing them so quickly, but at the same time, it's like, yeah, maybe pace them out a little bit more than, once every 12 months, sure, but not once every 8 months.
Yeah, I think the plan is, like, Sega really wants Yakuza on Switch too. I think they relented on putting stuff on Nintendo consoles for such a long time. Like, they had the Wii U version of Yakuza 1 and 2.
Yeah.
And like that sold poorly, but that was just because of the Wii U effect. And then they spent like almost the entirety of the Switch generation just ignoring the Switch. Now they know how big of a deal it is, and they just want everything on Switch as quickly as possible. So like, I would not be surprised if Kiwami 3 was developed entirely with the Switch 2 as its like target platform.
The Switch 2 trailer that came out. Yeah. The Switch 2 trailer that came out does look like that's the lead platform, because I know we've seen it before, especially with Switch games, where we'll get like the Switch trailer, and I put that in quotes. But it's always like, you're like, yeah, that's not on Switch. Like, there's no way that's the Switch version. But with Switch, obviously, Switch 2 being a bit more powerful than normal, this definitely looks more like that. And the one that they showed off on the Nintendo channels looks a lot like the rest of it. So it wouldn't surprise me if Switch 2 was the lead platform, and then the rest were just, oh, we're already doing the work, let's bring it to other platforms, that's fine.
Yeah. I think we're probably a little while away from seeing a new main series like a Dragon game, because we know that they're working on what's it called now, Stranger Than Heaven.
Yeah.
Well, we
And
just
Virtual
got
Fighter.
we just got a new entry in that part of the series early last year, and then the expansion like early this year.
Yeah.
So they do pump these out pretty quickly. I think that's
Yeah, they usually do one Yakuza game a year,
Yeah.
which is wild.
And like, I think the reason why we're seeing a lot of Yakuza at the moment is because like a Dragon or 6 was just such a huge success all of a sudden. Like, that game broke through way stronger than any of the other Yakuza games did.
Yeah.
So I think they're
Totally,
just
man,
really
like-
trying to ride that success at the moment.
Turning it into a turn-based JRPG was like such an inspired choice.
But also
genuinely.
a bit of a piss take on Dragon Quest, which is a Square
Yeah.
game as
Well,
well.
they
which
actually-
worked out for them.
they worked with Square Enix to like license some of the sound effects from Dragon Quest so that they could put it in there.
Right.
And they had the current sprite artist for the Dragon Quest series make all of the little character sprites on the loading screen for that. So yeah, they definitely did a really good job with that. But yeah, it is like taking the piss out of Dragon Quest. And like in story, like, again, sorry, spoilers for anybody who hasn't played it, but like in universe, like the whole Dragon Quest thing is like Ichiban, who is the main character of Like a Dragon and Infinite Wealth, basically just like played a shit ton of Dragon Quest when he was a kid, and then spent ages in prison, and then when he got out, he just sort of started seeing the world as a Dragon Quest game, because that was the only form of media that he had been exposed to, because that's all he did as a kid.
Well, but also he sees himself as a bit of a hero, as someone trying to
Yeah.
help people, even though he's part of a crime gang. He's still trying to help people, so he sees himself as like a Dragon Quest kind of hero as well.
Yeah. So yeah, it's a really cute way to do that, and yeah, I think switching to turn-based JRPG is like a really, really clever way for them to grow the series, because I think there was like a hard cap on how a crime gang focused brawler series could really go.
Well, the series has just been so similar for so long. Like, if
Yeah.
the game, most of the games are even just set in the same location, right? They're all just set in Kamurocho. They have pretty much the same rotation of characters a lot of the time. It's basically like a serial game series. Like, it's kind of stupid to say as a sentence, but it's basically a serial, right? Like, it's an actual series where it has recurring characters, recurring locations, etc., etc., etc. And so they kind of broke out the mold, even though the game is set in a similar location as the rest of the series. Like, 6 did break that mold by going turn-based, and you're building a party and all these kinds of things.
Infinite Wealth broke it even further by throwing you in Hawaii.
Yeah, and then it's not really a spoiler, but like, the main character of the original series, like, is diagnosed with cancer and he's dealing with the end of his life and stuff. So they're really kind of, again, breaking the mold in that regard by having a character actually die off of a long running series and you're not playing as him so much.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really interesting. I think they're doing a lot of fantastic stuff with the series. I do think they have made a few missteps here and there, but like, as fun as Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii was, like, it really didn't need to exist, and like, it is just fan service of the video game, which is fine. But
I mean, I'm happy with it because Sega sent me a bottle of rum for that game. So
Yeah, Luke's not corrupt.
Luke's
to be
like 10
fair,
out of 10.
it's not. I didn't actually review it. Somebody else reviewed it for me. But it's not. It's non-alcoholic rum.
Oh, even better.
So.
Yeah. So yeah, we're getting Kiwami 3. I think, as I said, anybody who's played Yakuza 3 will probably want to jump into this one instead. I would say, just if you're thinking about playing the Yakuza series, do not play 3 until Kiwami 3 is out, because good lord, it is a rough play, and like needlessly difficult too. Yakuza 3 is like one of the shortest games in the series, and they kind of pad that out by just making all of the boss fights like massive damage sponges that are impossible to defeat. So yeah,
I think it's fine that they do these, but I just wish they'd space them out a bit more. Because again, Switch 2 owners, if you've never played a Yakuza game, you got Yakuza 0 day 1, Yakuza Kiwami 1, Yakuza Kiwami 2 on November 19, and then Yakuza Kiwami 3 in February.
I am almost 100% certain that Like a Dragon and Infinite Wealth will be on the Switch 2 by the end of next year. I just have no doubt that that is going to happen. So yeah, it is going to be a lot. But I think they just want them all there ahead of whatever the next main series Like a Dragon game is.
Yeah, I just think they're kind of playing catch up, trying to get everything on Switch as quick as possible.
Exactly.
I mean, there's a TV series that came out as well. Let's not forget that.
Yeah, and that did
Amazon
really
Prime
well. And they're doing a new movie, something or other, in Japan as well for it. So
yeah.
Before you move on, Ollie, to the next story, I want to just circle back to Borderlands just quickly. Not because of the delay. That's old news now. But I spoke with Randy Pitchford at PAX. He and the Borderlands team were down for PAX Australia. It's their first time. And they did a panel where they talked about the DLC for the new game. And I brought up the issue of Borderlands 3 not working on Switch 2, how it's unplayable. And he basically pointed out that they only found out about that issue when the Switch 2 launched and they tested their own games out. And that's when they discovered it. He said it is something they're aware of. They do want to fix it. But it's just one of those things with production timelines, getting a studio involved to do the work. The studio who worked on the game initially for Switch, they're already working on other projects. They obviously can't pick up something out of nowhere. So they are hoping to work on it, but they just don't have a time frame on when they'll get around to fixing it. So if you're curious about Borderlands 3 on Switch 2, yeah, that's the status of it.
Yeah.
Well, I hope they will, because my partner and I playing through the Borderlands series now on Switch. We just got to 2 a couple of weeks ago. So we got to pre-sequel, and then we'll get to 2, obviously. So we'll be up to 3 eventually. So hopefully I do fix it.
On Switch, it's still fine, but on Switch 2, it's the problem. So
yeah, well, that's what we're playing it.
Yeah, I did actually skip over that. Borderlands 4 was delayed indefinitely on Switch 2. It's a weird situation that I think was probably predictable, all things considered, because we hadn't really seen any gameplay from the actual Switch 2 version.
They showed a few seconds of footage in one of the directs, in like a montagey thing, and that was it. And it's like, that's usually not a good sign.
It was like like 10 days before the game came out. The game was supposed
to
come
it was the week
out.
of. It was the week of it coming out.
Yeah, they just said, no, it's not coming out. They cancelled digital pre-orders. In-store pre-orders should be refunded, but they obviously have no control over that, so whatever. And yeah, there's no date for it now. They just said that, they want to deliver the best experience to fans or whatever. But they're hoping to have it released around the same time that they introduce cross saves. Because currently I think it has cross play but not cross saves, right? Like you can play multiplayer with people on other platforms, or maybe it doesn't, and that is also coming with cross saves. I'm not 100% sure.
I don't think it does do cross play. It might. Honestly, when I spoke with Randy, he mentioned about we were talking about the cross saves. No, it does have cross play. Sorry, because he said that you can cross play, but you can't cross save. So that was one of the big things that we were talking about too. So that's not a Vook thing. That's a me thing. So that's why I'm not talking too in depth on that.
Yeah. So yeah, it will. They're hoping to have the Switch 2 version out around the time that they introduce cross saves. So like, if you don't mind double dipping, or if you've already bought Borderlands 4 on another platform, like you can just continue on Switch 2 eventually, when that comes out. But yeah, it shouldn't be surprising. Like the game is sort of a in a technically interesting place, I think is a nice way to put it. It's kind of a mess on just about any platform. Like it's fine on
not
console.
bad on consoles, but
Yeah.
the people who are playing it, the people who are really into the series, play it on PC. And the PC is just not optimized the best. So, and I've always been of the opinion that the three of us can all play the same game on the same basic PC hardware, but because of programs that we all have installed differently and all the bits and bobs that go along with the PC, I could have a horrible experience and the other two can have no issues whatsoever. And my guy who reviewed it, he didn't have a single problem with the performance. Obviously, like he noticed like there was a hiccup when you went out of the menu screen, like out of the menus, went back to the game, it was like a slight pause. But it's like, okay, that's one of those things. But other people are reporting just countless issues. So
Well, it was the same with Borderlands 3. I remember like people having all sorts of performance issues.
Borderlands 3 was really bad at launch. The only thing that the reason I'm okay with Borderlands 4 getting delayed on Switch 2 is Panic Button are doing the work, and they generally do deliver some really great ports, so I'm okay with that.
I did try to play Borderlands 4 a little bit on PC, and it was I was struggling to just get anywhere near 60 FPS at like 1080p. So like it is a strange situation for that game, where like some people on low end hardware are like getting better results than people on high end hardware, and like it's all over the top. Like it's just completely random whether or not it will work on your machine well. Hopefully they do fix that.
And I did play Borderlands 4 on Switch 2 at PAX because it was there in a surprising move, and it was played smooth as. But once any enemy got about 5 meters out from your character, they became this sort of like indistinguishable blob of color with a black outline because it's cel shaded. It was a really weird thing. Within that range, everything was fine, but once they sort of stepped past that ring of detail, they became bad. So, but again, that could be a build from like 6 months ago. Who knows how old that build is?
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, the best thing really about Borderlands 4 has been watching Randy Pitchford crash out on Twitter about performance. Where, it's so funny. Dude needs to just log off. Like, just stop posting, man. Like, it's fine. You're the CEO of a company. You don't need to be like in the trenches saying, "Oh, you try building a game." Like, come on, man. That's like fucking 2007 NeoGAF forum warring. Like, it's so funny.
He's the Twitter manifestation of a midlife crisis, that guy.
I will say, I was watching, because I was watching a lot of TGS streams for what I do, and I was watching the Borderlands one because I knew they were announcing a new character there. And of course, they didn't tell us anything about the character beforehand. So I'm watching this stream, and all of a sudden, Randy pulls out a deck of cards and he starts doing magic. And all I can think is, nobody at PAX anywhere, and he did magic on stage at PAX Australia too, because he can't help himself. But nobody in the Western world cares that he was a magician before he was a game developer. Nobody cares. And then he gets on stage in Tokyo and he starts pulling out cards, and all I can think is, what the fuck are you doing? And the reason why is because the new character does card tricks like Gambit. And all I can think is he's just designed this character just so he can have an excuse to do card tricks in front of people again.
I think it's more the case that that's probably part of it. It's probably like a marketing thing, but I think it's also like just a PR thing where he's just trying to make himself relatable and make people like him after being super unlikable in the last 6 months on Twitter.
His house is just like filled with magic memorabilia, like floor to ceiling, just magic shit everywhere.
What a cool
we're talking David Copperfield magic, folks, not Magic the Gathering magic.
Yeah. David Copperfield shit. Like it's just apparently it is overwhelming. But yeah.
Is he like? I mean, has he got like the tiger's bones that like mauled Siegfried and Roy? Is he
I
that
mean,
much
if
of a
he
fan?
could,
Might
if he
have the
could get
rub.
him, he would have him.
I will say, like, I spoke to Randy twice this year. Once in May for previews for Borderlands 4, and then obviously again at PAX. And he's a super nice guy, but he takes everything so personally. And the moment you like disagree with him, he's online. He's just at you. It's like, dude, just you've got millions upon millions of dollars. You don't need to be doing this.
Yeah, I mean, like I was blocked by Randy for a really long time on Twitter, because like in 2014 or like 2015, he was like tweeting, like I saw just a random tweet come up on my feed from him, and he was like, "Oh, my studios have never put out a single bad game," and I was like, "Man, I played Aliens, whatever the fuck that one was,
Colonial
Alien,
Marines or something.
Colonial Marines, yeah." I played that, and like that was not a good game. I don't think anybody thinks it's a good game. And he just said, like, fuck you, and then blocked me instantly. I was like, dude, what the fuck? And then I was blocked for like 10 years. I only got blocked unblocked last year.
But he wouldn't remember that at all. He would
No.
have no idea who you were.
The best thing about that game though is on the PC, somebody went into the ini file and modified like 3 lines from the ini file, and apparently made the game run super well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the thing about Aliens Colonial Marines is that like the reason it was shit is just because of a couple like errors in the code. Like they had proper like AI, and like it's fine. They just like they never located the bug and fixed it themselves. They just like Sega just did not give them any more money after it.
That was around the time that The Sims came out, whichever one that was, Sims 4, 5, or whatever, the one that was
Sims
online
4.
only. And then people literally just went into like a config file or something like that and just like blocked some sort of internet access thing, like a DNS check or something.
Yeah.
And the game just ran perfectly fine offline, even though EA was adamant that it could not play without an online connection. Everyone was just like,
Yeah.
literally put in these 4 lines of code and your game will run perfectly fine offline.
Yeah.
So it was around that same time. Yeah,
Yeah.
classic.
I feel like, yeah, like just after the launch of like the PS4 and the Xbox One, we saw a lot of like the industry trying to get away with shit. Just a lot, because they were like, oh well, we're in the HD era now, so you know things are changing, and they
It's
just
much harder to
tried
make a
their
game in
hardest.
HD now. It's like no,
Yeah.
it's not.
Or when you
No,
remember all those things that like Microsoft was saying, like, oh, all of our games are using like cloud processing on Xbox One, so you cannot play them offline. And there was like one game that like required an online connection, and then it got patched like 2 months later to not require online. Like,
Yeah.
it was just bullshit. But they tried to get away with that shit, where it's like, oh, we're using the cloud to process everything, so you know you can't be not connected.
I mean, if we crack open the can of worms and how much Xbox suck with what they say is possible and what is actually possible, we'll be here until 6 p.m. But I will say, what I find quite hilarious about the games industry is there are so many companies, EA, PlayStation, Xbox, they will pump out patches left, right, and center to fix issues, because rather than just delay the game to make it better, they lock in a date a year out, 2 years out, and they stick with it. Nintendo does not do that. Nintendo will do a patch once in a blue moon for a game that comes out. We've seen it a bit with Switch 2. Some of their games on Switch 2 have had more patches, but that's just because, you know, new hardware. But like, when was the last time you saw them release a patch because something was inherently broken in a game, or something didn't work the way it's supposed to in a game?
Yeah, I mean, like, yeah, they never fixed Pokemon Scarlet or whatever either, so...
Hey, they
there is
did. They
that.
just had to release a brand new console for it to work.
Yeah, that's it. But like,
Uh,
yeah, no, I get what you're saying there, Luke. But there's another train of thought that I had, but I've forgotten. Never mind, doesn't matter.
if it comes back to you, just shout it
Yeah,
out.
I'll just
no
interrupt
matter
like I
what we're
normally do.
talking about. Yeah. Nintendo released a new mobile game. Just out of nowhere. It was announced via a press release on the investor relations website, which is
The oddest place ever to
dumbest
get any
place
sort
to
of news.
announce a game. They were just like, oh yeah, by the way, there's a new game coming out on mobile today. It'll be available at some point in the future. And
Oh,
like,
I remember my train of thought.
yeah, go on.
No,
Oh, he's lost it again.
He's
No,
forgotten about it.
I've got it. When Luke was saying that like Nintendo like generally don't put out busted games and stuff, but the other thing is that like Nintendo will also like finish developing a game and then they'll just keep it in their back pocket for like 2 years.
Yeah.
So there's that too. Sorry,
Yeah.
it was
I think
pointless.
that is a very good point. Like Nintendo does like, if you are seeing the announcement of a Nintendo game, it's probably because it is done. Like, with few exceptions, like mainline Zelda, which like, you know, well, Tears of the Kingdom and Breath of the Wild, like both were announced well ahead of when they released. But like for the most part, like we see like 3 to 6 month windows, because when Nintendo announces something, it's because it is done, and maybe just needs a little extra polish. They rarely, if ever, announce anything that is not finished.
Metroid. Sorry.
Well, yeah, Metroid is an unfortunate situation where they really wanted to make it a big thing. They're like, oh yeah, we'll announce it, and then in a couple of years it'll be out, and then that'll be it. And then that did not. Did not happen.
Smash is
Anyway.
another one. Smash is another one that like they basically announced as it before it was even being made, and then put out updates as it was being made, and that one was definitely like fresh from the oven.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the we kind of know from Sakurai's videos, a lot of the character announcement like videos that they did were like as they were adding those characters to the game. Like it was just like, oh yeah, no, we've added like Banjo, by the way, so may as well put that together.
The ink was still wet on the Metal Gear like signage, and then they just announced Snake. They're like, guys, we got Snake.
Anyway, so Nintendo has a new mobile game. It is a Fire Emblem social deduction game. So yeah, it was just announced via a press release, and then like an hour or so after it just came up on mobile stores. You've written turn-based here. It's kind of a real-time strategy-ish kind of thing. It's Fire Emblem, but your characters just like sort of move on their own, and then you sort of like do like some activities like that make them do specific attacks or whatever. Either way, the idea is that there's 3 players. You can do this solo or with actual people. There's 3 players, and one person is a disciple of Shadow, and that basically means that they have to play poorly and try and lose the battle. And then after that, everybody sort of tries to guess who that person who was intentionally trying to sabotage the game
It's
was.
Fire Emblem meets Among Us. That's literally what it is.
It's Among Us. But yeah, so you have to figure out who the disciple of Shadow is and who was trying to like fuck up your game. And then after that you fight. And like if you correctly guessed who that was, then you get a boost against that person. Or if you didn't guess, then they get a boost against you. So it's a really interesting concept. It's just weird to just drop it out of nowhere via a press release. I don't think they've even like tweeted about it.
No,
Like,
I've seen some. I've seen a few, but they usually like leak these little 15-second vignette video things where they're like, "Oh, it is," and like they put out on their mobile YouTube channel. So Nintendo Mobile has a YouTube channel.
Yeah.
They put that out there, and it was just called Fire Emblem Shadows Bazaar, and it's about a marketplace bazaar, not just that it's bizarre. And I was watching that, and I'm like, I think they used the wrong spelling of bizarre here, because this makes no sense. It's about characters just fighting over the fact that the main protagonist character in the art from the game was trying to sell a ring or something in a marketplace. It made no sense to me whatsoever. I think it's hilarious that the only two games on mobile now from Nintendo are both Fire Emblem, because every other game's either just recycling content or has an offline mode now where they don't actually put anything in the game. So
yeah, it's weird. I really thought that like Nintendo had largely just given up on mobile.
Yeah.
But I mean, apparently they're still going, and this is okay. So this is not considered a spin-off. This is considered a main series game by Intelligent Systems, because it was made by Intelligent Systems. So it's not a spin-off like the Warriors games or whatever. Like this is, according to them, just a main series Fire Emblem game, which is a really weird thing.
It would not surprise me if this was done more as an experiment. Like they had this feature and they wanted to see how it was working, and they ended up with enough sort of a game that they realized, hey, we could actually probably just release this somewhere. You know, maybe it was planned to be a Switch thing. I don't know. And in the end, somebody said, "What about mobile?" That's why I think this came together. I don't think they were like, "Let's make a game exclusively for mobile." But then again, what's the other one? Fire Emblem Echoes of Shadow, whatever. Fez. Fire Emblem.
Yeah, something like that. It's
Yeah,
Heroes. It's Fire Emblem Heroes, and then
yeah.
it's got like
The
various
cash cow.
subtitles. Yeah,
The cash cow game on mobile. I think maybe they looked at that and went, "Oh, Fire Emblem was really really popular on mobile. Let's just put this on mobile." Like there has to be some reason. I don't think they would deliberately set out to make a mobile game. I think it just became that over time. But
yeah.
you know,
I wouldn't be surprised if it did eventually get ported to Switch too. But yeah, it is a really weird game. One of my coworkers has been playing it and really enjoying it because like the thing is like in a game like this, you sort of like have to try and pick up the telltale signs of somebody like intentionally tanking or like trying to separate that from them just being a shit player, which is like a really funny concept. Where it's like, oh yeah, is this person like trying to lose the game, or
is
like
this their first ever time playing a game
is
like
their
this? They've
first
got
ever
no idea
time
what they're doing.
playing it, or like they don't know what they're doing, and like that's a really interesting concept. It's just weird that this is where it's being like I could imagine like a game mode in Splatoon where like one person is like intentionally trying to tank it, right? Like that kind of makes sense. This is just a weird situation. But you know, glad that they're.
I mean, the fact they dropped it
trying.
via a press release on their investor relations page shows you how much weirdness this game was going to have from the outset. So,
Yeah, I think a lot of that is just like they put it out to investors in the sense that like, hey, we're still doing mobile. Don't pull your money from the company. Like,
as I said, Fire Emblem on mobile has been a cash cow. Like, it's the longest running game they've ever had on mobile. Mario Kart Tour was what 2019, 2018, 2019.
yeah,
And it bailed what 2 years ago now from new content. So, and Fire Emblem, the first one was 2017, and it's still getting new content today. So, yeah, it's definitely a cash cow
I mean,
for them.
technically, Mario Run is still getting new content. They just like randomly started doing events for that again. Like,
Oh yeah, with the Wonderful Hour or whatever it was. Yeah.
yeah, when Mario Wonder came out, they started doing events for it, and then they did some stuff for Donkey Kong as well. It's like, okay, sure.
The problem is they keep adding all these like gold versions of statues that people already have, and there's no space to put them.
Yeah.
So you end up with just like duplicates of all your statues in your little inventory you can't do anything with. I'd be okay with if they added once a month, if they added a new level pack, you got 4 new stages. Even once every 2 months, like that'd be fine.
What I think they should do with Mario Run is add a maker mode to Mario Run.
Yeah.
I think that's the way to do maker. I like it just seems like the right thing to do for me, and I think that would really get a lot of interaction and engagement.
Yeah.
Angelo, how's your building going?
It's okay. I think I've got the back of it going, but I think I've done something wrong. I've got a couple of pieces that aren't quite lining up. I'm not sure if they're supposed to line up. It's these little bits here where like you get the switches or whatever on the Game Boy. I can't remember. Do you guys know if these red bits are supposed to be lined up or not at the back?
I mean, I feel like they should be. I haven't built
No,
mine
they're
yet,
not.
so
They're not
not
lined
supposed
up.
to be.
Because I've just grabbed mine because I have mine completed. So the volume wheel is here, in line with my finger, and then there's the other one.
Yeah, okay, cool.
Okay,
That's
so
what I was confused about. I'm like, they're not lining up. Okay, that makes me feel better.
All right, crisis averted.
Yep.
Professor Layton and the New World of Steam. Now, this was something that was really exciting, because it's a new Layton game. And it was announced at the end of 2023, and it was supposed to be coming out in late 2024, and then they delayed that to 2025, and now it's been delayed to 2026. And this will not be the last delay that this game gets. I can guarantee it, because Level 5 cannot release a game on time to save their lives. Like, this is just how like they've been. You know, Inazuma 11. What is it called? Victory Road now? It's had like 6 different names. That was supposed to come out in mid 2018. And it's still not out. They made an entire anime to tie in with it, and then the anime came and went, and then they made like a little short movie thing, and that was supposed to come out with it as well, and then that came and went, and then the game still didn't come out for another 5 years. So yeah, the level 5 is they just can't get shit out. And they keep announcing new projects and then not releasing the projects that they're already supposed to be. Like, Deca Police isn't coming out until the end of next year, and I just don't think that game even exists, if I'm being honest. It was supposed to come out in late 2014, and they were like, oh yeah, no, it's coming out in 2026 now. And then, like, I just don't think it's gonna come out. I don't think that game is ever going to see day. The one thing that they did actually release was Fantasy Life I, and that was really good. And then they promised a bunch of DLC for it that just hasn't turned up. So
that was also after it got like multiple delays. So.
Yeah, it got like multiple delays. That was supposed to come out in like 2023, and then ended up coming out at the start of this year. So
yeah. Look, I mean, Level 5 make nice games, and I'm happy if they want to take their time to make a game. That's fine. I don't care about that. Take the time you need to make the game right. But stop announcing things and then delaying and delaying and delaying. If you know your game's not going to be ready this year, don't announce it for this year. It's not a hard concept.
The thing is, though, I genuinely think that all these companies don't realize that their game's going to take this long, but they still announce it like, a year ahead of what, at least when they should. It should literally just be like, okay, yeah, we're like 3 to 6 months out. Let's announce the game now. Like, you guys remember when Fallout 4 was announced?
Yeah.
Like, it was years that game was rumored. No one said anything. And then, like, June, like, E3 2015, they're like, here's Fallout 4. It comes out in November. And everyone's like, whoa, what?
Yeah, and they did like a 40-minute deep dive. I was in that press conference. I was in the actual auditorium watching that press conference. They did like a 40-minute deep dive into the game on stage. And I'm like, they were talking about like the size of buttons on consoles and shit. Like, they were going all in on random things. I'm like, okay. And then they go, oh, and it's out this year. And I'm like, what?
Yeah.
No,
and then they announced... And then they announced Elder Scrolls 6 in like 2018. Where's that game? And then they announced Starfield. That took like 5 years to come out.
Yeah. All right. So let me just I want to talk about Inazuma 11 just quickly. So that was supposed to come out in 2018, and then it was delayed to sometime after May 2019, and then it was delayed to 2020. And then it was delayed to 2021, and then it was delayed to 2023, and then in 2022 they changed the name of it, and then in 2023 it was announced to be delayed to 2024, and then they said it was coming out in the end of 2024, and then they just missed that completely, didn't even say anything about it. We just got into 2025, and they said, oh yeah, by the way, it's coming out this year. And then in April, they said it was coming out on August 21. And then you can tell by the fact that we're talking about it now, and as if it hasn't released, it got delayed again. They say it's coming out now in November 13, which is like, 3 and a bit weeks away. We'll see. I think, I don't know, I played the demo and it was like fine. So like maybe, but yeah.
The funny thing about this game is that when it was announced for Switch, PlayStation 4, and mobile devices. Since then, the mobile versions have been cancelled. They've added a PS5, PC, and Xbox Series X version of the game, and they've cancelled all plans for a physical release. It's a digital-only game. It's like every single step they took forward on this game, they managed to trip on something, and it just makes me laugh.
Yeah. I mean, the plot is like not even reminiscent of the anime that was supposed to be just an adaptation of the plot. Like they've just changed everything about it at this point. But yeah, like I wouldn't even mind if they like announced a game and then just like gave development updates without giving a date. But they just always put a date on it, and it's always like a super specific date. It's like, oh, this is coming out on April 29th, and then they just never hit it. So just stop putting dates or even windows on things. Just like talk about the game. If you want to talk about the game early, like that's fine. Just don't put a date on it. It's such a stupid thing to do, because like, it's expected that Professor Layton and the New World of Steam will come out in like early next year, but it won't. It'll be like August at the earliest, I think. It's just they
when Level 5 had their Tokyo Game Show showcase thing that they do, Basically, if you're a Japanese game company, you have a showcase during TGS. It's what they do. When they announced this and they showed like in their little promo image, they had Layton, they had Fantasy Life, and Inazuma 11. Deca Police wasn't there. There was nothing about Megaton, Musashi, whatever it was called. There was no like DLC for that. And all I could think at the time was, okay, which game's going to get delayed first, Inazuma or Layton? And the only reason I didn't think about a Fantasy Life is they managed to actually release that one. So, yeah, I just think it's quite hilarious that they do this. And as I said before, like we're talking about at the start of the show, we're talking about games being announced too soon. It's fine if you want to announce your game today and it's not going to come out for 3 years. That's fine. We're happy to wait. Gamers are okay with waiting. We're used to it. But the whole trying to build up hype for 3 years, by the time your game comes out, people will just not give a shit. Like Dragon Age: The Valguard, whatever you personally believe about the quality of that game, that's not my not bringing that up for that now. But that game was announced way too early, and it was done so to try and make shareholders, happy. Because new Dragon Age game, the shareholders were like that. And then they didn't say anything for like 3 years. Then they showed one piece of concept art and gave us the name, and then they delayed. They didn't show anything for another 12 plus months, and then so they kept trying to build up that hype. And of course, by the time people started seeing the actual gameplay, people were like, this is what you've been hyping up for the past 5 years?
Yeah.
So if you want to announce it, but just don't try and keep the hype going, because it never succeeds.
I think you can do that with exactly Zelda. That is like, that's it, right? Like you can do that with Zelda. You can tease over the years and try and build up hype if you can deliver a Zelda game. If you cannot deliver a game of that scope and size and like what you can guarantee is going to get incredible player reception, you just shouldn't do it. And nobody else can. Nintendo can do it. Like I think Intergalactic from Insomniac is going to be like a whatever game, right? Like it's going to be fine. Not Insomniac.
Naughty Dog.
Naughty Dog. That's it. I think it's going to be like it's going to be fine, right? It's not going to be for me. I'm sure there will people who will absolutely love it, but I do respect that they're not like showing it off every 3 months and like doing that. Like they did a teaser announcement and then ended on a wrong song for that. It should have been Beastie Boys Intergalactic, but they made their choice.
I'm sure they're saving that one. I'm sure that's an obvious choice. They're probably saving it.
They couldn't use it. It was in the Mario movie.
I hope
instead they go to Don't Stop Till Brooklyn and everyone's like, oh wait, that's also in the Mario movie. So Don't Sleep Till Brooklyn.
Yeah. But yeah, I do respect that they haven't just been showing it off every 6 seconds, because they had done that previously with the Last of Us games, which was exhausting.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I mean, they did it with Saros, the new game from Housemarque here, however you pronounce it. We got the trailer teaser for that last September. We got a gameplay reveal this past September, and the game's out in March.
Yeah,
that's a fine release cadence. Yep. I'm sure we'll see
months.
more snippets going into the release, but that's fine. That's fine.
18 months is really like the longest that a marketing cycle like that should be. Ideally.
Unlike Wolverine, which was announced in 2021, and we just got a gameplay for it. And I say gameplay, I'll put that in quotes, gameplay, just, a few weeks ago.
Dude, that reveal trailer, even I was like, is this game too violent? I was like, I was a little bit offended by it. Like, I was blushing. I'm like, my goodness, like this guy is hacking people up. This is a PG property in films. This is crazy.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even recall him being... I've only read a few comics, mind you, of Wolverine or the feature Wolverine, and even then, I don't remember him being this like psychotic. Because psychotic.
In the comics, like he'll stab people, that's fine.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
He's just like fucking like chopping their arms off and like decapitating them and shit. Right?
He cuts off limbs. He like cuts people in the neck. Like in Logan, yeah, that too was like quite gory. But this I feel like is like leaps above that. I was.
No,
surprised.
This one's actually tame. If you go back and play X-Men Origins Wolverine from 2009, that, especially him, because he's got a healing factor, he'll cut everyone up. Like at one point he grabs somebody, stabs him in the chest, and then holds him up to the blades of a helicopter, and you keep pushing the character up, and the blades keep to like slicing him like ham. But then like Logan will like have giant chunks
Like
missing, and he
ham is
starts.
such a fucking incredible way to describe it. Go on, yeah.
But Logan himself will have like giant chunks missing from him, and you'll see it like heal over and everything. They actually they did release a version on Wii, and it wasn't the same, but it still has some of the gore. But then they released an uncaged edition, which is like they took what the retail release was, and they went, here's more. Like if you go and see gameplay of that one, you probably can't stream that on Twitch. That's how bad that game is at times. So yeah,
I think it hits
this one
a little
from
bit different when it's like in 4K though, you know.
True.
Like hyper realistic graphics, like yeah.
I was just hilarious when I was watching it, and I said to Ollie, I said, is this guy? Yeah, and it's another Australian actor playing a Canadian character.
Yeah.
Just
There are so
actor
many
playing
Canadian
Wolverine.
voice actors that it is insane to me that they keep picking Australian people. And but like it's clear that they're just like, well, you know, Hugh Jackman.
Yeah.
We got to capture those vibes. We'll just hire an Australian because we can't afford the real thing.
But it's like Nolan North was Deadpool in the Deadpool game like a decade ago, and that's a fantastic Deadpool game. And then when they decided to make a new Deadpool game, they got Neil Patrick Harris. It's like, yeah. Sometimes you see the name of a person attached to playing a character in a game, you're like, I don't think so. But then they'll do a generally good job anyway. So,
I mean, I like Neil Patrick Harris as a pick for Deadpool because like Deadpool has to be like a little bit camp, and Neil Patrick Harris does a little bit camp very well. So yeah. Either way, just games, right?
don't announce too
that
soon,
one
but
really-
announce them so we can get excited. You know, find that, but
Yeah, find the balance. But like, sorry, just on Wolverine still. I'm really curious about like mechanically how you do a game like that without just completely fucking the lore, because like Wolverine is unkillable. So do you just never fail? Like,
the way that they've described it is it's mission based, so you're not in an open world. You're going from like stage to stage, and I imagine there would be objectives you'd have to complete. And I think that's the way they'll do it.
Yeah, but if you're like open worldish, like running around, like how do you die? What is hard mode in this game? What is the punishment? What's the consequence?
I guess. Yeah, I mean,
Sticking your
we'll have to
chopsticks
wait
up
and
right
see.
in your bowl of rice.
As you said, like the gameplay that we saw was like a bunch of like scripted and canned animations that they showed off.
Which is
like,
what
that was it.
Insomniac does the best. Like
Yeah.
Spider-Man, that first Spider-Man reveal from PS4 way back in the day was like him like spinning through the helicopter. Like that was cutscene. You know, it's fine. It was a great
when
moment
they were
leading up
showing
to
off-
it, but it was a cutscene.
When they were showing off Spider-Man 2, they were showing off like the fucking early Sandman fight, and it's like that's all of the bits that you're showing are just scripted sequences. Like it, yeah.
Do you guys think Wolverine can swim? Given that he's like all metal on the
Got
inside.
metal bones, yeah. I think like
'Cause
he's
maybe
got
that's how
quite
he
strong
dies.
muscles, right?
I guess, but maybe that's how he dies. He just drowns.
But does he drown, or does he just like?
Well,
He
see,
sinks
this is the
and
thing, right?
drowns.
He can drown, but then like not really. He can't drown to death, because like the way that drowning works. This is getting really morbid and dark. The way that drowning works is that it like starts to like scar your brain tissue because of a lack of oxygen. But then like obviously he has the healing factor, so his brain tissue regenerates at a rate that.
But you also go
It's
into
faster
cardiac
than-
arrest though, and your heart stops beating. If your heart stops beating, then nothing works.
That's true.
So
Yeah, I don't
that's
know.
interesting. I mean, it's because like the movie.
I'm gonna Google it now. Can Wolverine drown?
Because the movie Invincible with Bruce Willis was literally about that. That was the climax of the film. Was that like he's indestructible, but then he almost drowns. Spoilers for a 30-year-old film. We're just spoiling things left, right, and center this episode.
Let's see. According to Reddit,
We're that podcast now. We're just reading Reddit posts.
According to Reddit, yeah, in 1988 it was his first established drowning, and he did just straight up die. So
Yeah,
yeah, he can die by drowning.
No, he can't. He's a comic book character. They never die. He popped back up again, and then he died again in like 2010, and then he died again in 2015.
No, but
Dies all the
look,
time.
Someone drew it, so it's real. That's how comic books work. If it's not drawn, then it's not real. But if someone drew it, then it happened.
But somebody drew Deadpool kills the Marvel universe, and it ends with Deadpool walking into the Marvel Comics writers' room. Marvel this year released Godzilla kills the Marvel universe with Toho. There's a Godzilla themed Marvel comic where Godzilla just destroys all the Marvel heroes.
Makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. It does seem like whether or not he can drown to death is entirely based on who's writing the comics this week. So, yeah.
I personally think it's the same thing with Superman. Like anytime they try and put Superman in danger, like even in the new movie that James Gunn directed, like that's a fine movie. But every time they try and put him in danger, it's like, yeah, but he's Superman. Like even Zack Snyder, like he killed him off and then brought him back, right? Because it's Superman. When characters are too invulnerable for things, there's really no stakes. And the only way I think a Superman game would work is if you gave him like kryptonite poisoning and like with a dust or something, and it filled his lungs and it just muted his powers, and you slowly got the powers back as more of the dust was like expunged from him. That's the only way I think it would
do
work.
I have a video game for you? It released in 1998 on the N64.
Yeah, I'm thinking a good game though. But yeah, but you get my point. Yeah, I don't know. I'm fine with it, but I just think that we spent too long with that game in development hell, and I think I don't know.
Yeah.
Let's move on.
Yeah. So Doug Bowser, who, you know, most appropriate person to be in charge of Nintendo, is no longer going to be
In charge of Nintendo.
in charge of Nintendo. So Doug Bowser is stepping down as president and CEO of Nintendo America. He's how long has he been there?
Be 10 years.
2015 or something?
10
2015
years.
when he came on board.
Yeah, that's wild. So he's stepping down as president and CEO. Now what they're doing is really interesting, I think.
No, he wasn't. He was never CEO of Nintendo of America.
He was like COO, right? Like Chief
COO,
Operating
yeah.
Officer. Yeah.
Yeah, but he
Okay,
joined
so-
Nintendo in like 2015, right? Like just around the time that Iwata passed away. It was roughly around
Yeah.
when he joined, and then
Yep.
he was head of the company or whatever, like 4 or 5 years later.
Nintendo of America will have a new CEO in Satoru Shibata, who was the CEO of Nintendo Europe for a while, and also like very briefly the head of Nintendo Australia. Fun fact. That's interesting. We don't really know if he's gonna stay as CEO of Nintendo Europe. I wouldn't imagine so, but like, who would take over? It's a weird situation.
They haven't announced any replacement for him for that, so maybe he's going to be doing both for a while because he's back in Japan.
Yeah.
So he's not in Europe anymore. So maybe based on where he is, he can do both, but who knows?
And then as president, we're getting Devon Pritchard. She has been with Nintendo for 20 years, and she's made a few appearances throughout the years in various Nintendo media. She is very passionate about games. She does enjoy Nintendo games and has been playing Nintendo games for many, many years. So it's good to have someone who's not just a capitalist machine shoved into a suit,
Yeah, a suit. Yeah.
Didn't Doug Bowser come from EA?
Probably. I feel like that's. Let's take a look. We'll Google it.
Bowser worked at Electronic Arts from 2007 to 2015, serving as vice president of global demand planning.
That's just fucking words, man.
That's
these,
just
like,
what it says in Wiki.
VP of whatever, right? Like, it's always just like this person just gets paid a shit ton to like take credit for other people's work. That's what that means.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Look, Doug Bowser's only real contribution to the company was the fact that his surname was Bowser. And then that one Nintendo Direct where they're like, oh, we haven't, here's Doug Bowser, and Bowser walks out on the screen, and then Doug Bowser goes, no, I think he means me. Look,
it's because he came at a time when Nintendo was stepping away from making their executives, like their top level executives, like the faces of the company.
Yep.
Like we don't see anything about like what's his name, Fujikawa or whatever, the
Shintaro
Japanese-
Furukawa, the
like, we
actual
don't see
CEO of the
anything about
company.
we don't see him in any of the Nintendo Directs. Like they have actual like marketing or PR people actually doing the like face-to-face camera stuff.
Yeah, I mean, once Iwata passed, all the directs changed to be more about the people making the games rather than the heads of the company, which I get. But even still, just Bowser alone, I don't. There's nothing that stands out apart from that little direct bit where I see, like, I can recall anything that he's done where it's like stands out in my memory. Like Reggie obviously had a lot of direct stuff, like the fighting with Iwata and all that sort of stuff. There's a lot of that stuff around. But even still, outside of that, when he was at events, he was like really, personable and eager to chat with people. But I never heard anything like that from Bowser. He was kind of just like there.
But that's my point. Is that like he was probably just doing his job, like which was to manage the company like in the office rather than like being part of the PR team, etc. Like the thing about Nintendo at that time in the 2000s was that like it was differentiating from Microsoft and Sony, where and even Sony did it to an extent, right? Having Kaz Hirai and other top executives like announcing things, Sean Layden, etc., etc. When they had the executives out as the characters announcing these things, whereas like in the late 2010s, companies started pulling away from that. We've still got Phil Spencer doing that, and we've seen how well that's gone in the last few years. Randy Pitchford is another one where it's not going well for him as well. So yeah, they put actual like media trained people out in the forefront and keep the actual executives whose job it is to just run the company, just to keep them in the back end actually running the company. So it makes sense.
But yeah, so Devon Pritchard, she joined Nintendo in 2006. She was originally part of the legal team. So, make of that what you will. But it wasn't long. She spent a few years doing legal stuff, and then after that started doing marketing and business and publisher relations, and then was, very quickly rose through the ranks. Essentially, I think she's
probably just needed less of a workload because let's face it, Nintendo's legal team is probably one of the busiest departments in that company.
No doubt. So she's even like, she has helped with, fine tuning localization as well. She's had a hand in a lot of aspects of the company.
Which is what I like. I like the fact that she's somebody who's, for essentially, she's been in the trenches. She knows how the company works. She knows what the company does. She knows what the company's good at doing. So having someone like that be the leader, be the boss, and I mean, Disney are going through the same thing. Disney brought in a few years ago. They brought in Bob Chapek, or as he was known by everyone, Bob Paycheck, because he kept upping, like he took away free parking. He made people pay more for everything. He was just across the board. And then they got rid of him and they brought back the old CEO because nobody liked Bob Chapek. So they brought back Bob Iger. And now they're trying to bring Bob Iger's retiring at the end of next year. And they've got a whole process about trying to find someone new to replace him. And the leader that they're the front runner, I should say, is the guy who runs their parks division. Because so far this year, parks have made like $9 billion. They make the most money out of any division in the Disney company. And everyone says that Josh D'Amaro, who's the parks leader, that he knows the people, he knows what the company does, he knows everything. And I like the idea of somebody who's been working with the company. So D'Amaro's been with Disney since 2002, 2003, something like that. Pritchard's been with the company with Nintendo since 2006. Like, these people know the ins and outs of the company. They may not agree with everything the company's been doing. They may be supporting things maybe they shouldn't be supporting for the company's decisions, but they know the company. Unlike Bowser, who came from EA, and let's face it, EA have not had the best track record on delivering things. Kiwishima, who was the temporary CEO after Iwata's passing, he was a Pokemon guy, but he was a banker primarily. They brought him in from a banking thing just to keep the company going. And then when they replaced him with Furukawa, he came from Nintendo of Europe. So I like the idea of people stepping into the leadership roles who know the companies and who know what the company's best at doing, because it just means we don't have to go through that whole, here's 12 months of them canceling projects and doing this and doing that and all these other things that don't make sense because they've decided this is what the company needs to be doing. So yeah, whether or not Pritchard actually does a good job, we'll have to wait and see, give her a chance to actually find her feet first. But I like the fact that she's somebody who's coming from within the company to lead the people she already works with. So
Yeah. I don't think Doug Bowser was necessarily a bad choice. Like for what Nintendo needed at that time after the spectacular failure of the Wii U, having like an aggressive marketing forward president in America was probably not a terrible idea in the grand scheme of things. Like they needed somebody who could push the brand hard, and like that's what he did. Going into the Switch. So that's not a terrible thing to have, but yeah, in terms of like long-term sustainability for a company like that, you kind of need somebody who does know the ins and outs of the company and has been there a while and sort of understand how it ticks. So yeah, I think it's a good choice, but ultimately, it's just somebody who's making a shit ton of money and does some amount of work, but not as much as the compensation suggests.
Yeah.
So yeah. Angelo, give us an update. We've run out of news to talk about.
I am still working on the body of the thing. I've started doing the front. I'm doing the start and select buttons. I am up to page 64 out of 101 pages, but the last few pages are the second cartridge. So 98. 98 is the last page. So I've got like 34 pages to go. So we may do it. We may do that. Depends how we go with Nintendo 20 questions and everything else.
I just think it's hilarious that the start and select buttons are just tires.
Yeah.
Yeah, there were just before we finish up with news, there were a couple games added to the Super Nintendo Classics library. Mario and Wario, really interesting one, which is a sort of Lemmings style game that uses the mouse. So you
I
can play
honestly
it on
think
Switch
it's just the Mario versus Donkey Kong, but before Donkey Kong was added to the mix.
Pretty much, yeah. So yeah, it uses the mouse con on Switch 2, or you can just plug a mouse into the console on Switch 1 or Switch 2. But yeah, it was never released outside of Japan, despite the fact that it is entirely in English. Just because it required the SNES mouse, and just obviously that just sold like shit anywhere. So yeah, it was never released outside of Japan, and it was never re-released on any digital platform prior to now. So this is the first time since like 1996 when it came out.
I thought it was 93. But I might be wrong.
It was late in the Super Nintendo for sure. Let's Google it. Yeah,
I mean, even the video, it does Bubsy, then Fatal Fury, and then it says "and introducing," and then it shows up Mario and Wario.
Yeah, well, you just spoiled the other ones. So Bubsy 1 is on Super Nintendo now, sure. And there's Fatal Fury as well, which is quite nice. Fatal Fury is a culturally important game. But yeah. Really interesting lineup. All things considered, I think it's quite good. That Mario and Wario is there. I imagine we're just going to get all of the mouse games.
I imagine so, which I'm fine with that.
There's not many of them, so yeah. Let's talk about the games that we're playing. So Luke, you haven't read anything in here, but we'll start with you. What have you been playing lately?
Oh God, what haven't I been playing?
It's been a busy time of year.
I finished off yesterday. I finished off By Sweet Carol, which is basically take the gameplay of Little Nightmares, but take the look of the Black Cauldron, the Disney animated film, and combine them. So everything's hand drawn, 2D animation. It looks. I'll put a trailer on the screen because it's hard to sort of describe properly. But yeah, it's basically just the gameplay of Little Nightmares, and then the actual look of the Black Cauldron of the Disney animated stuff. And that's fine. It's not something to like rush out and pick up, but it's a fine game. Sorry, I'll put that on screen now. So it's a really cool one. Oh god, what else have I been playing? Been playing so much. Let me bring up my actual list so I can tell you. I should have filled it out, but I was being slack. Ball Pit. So my review for Ball Pit went live the other day. That's a fantastic game. Like it's really, really, really good. It's basically just random. It's it's breakout Arkanoids, depending on what you want to call it, with roguelike mechanics. It's strangely addictive. The runs generally only go for about 15 minutes if you're successful. Like if you go through and actually manage to like complete the run, it's about 15 minutes. And then between runs, you have to upgrade your town, like place buildings so your trees grow more, so you get more timber to upgrade things. So that's kind of cool. What else have I been doing? Battlefield 6, did the single player for that. I've been playing the multiplayer, but I didn't do the review for that. Somebody else did that. We divvied it up just to make it easier for ourselves. I did Dreams of Another, which is the pointillism game from Q Games, where you have to shoot everything to like restore it back to a thing. It's an odd game. Like it looks visually incredible, but gameplay wise, it's as bland as you would ever possibly imagine. You play for 10 minutes and then it kicks you out to the main menu and you go continue and it takes you back to another chapter. It's like there's no actual progression from chapter to chapter. It's just stupid. And there's more that I'm playing, but they're all. I just started playing Just Dance, the new one. There's other stuff I'm playing that's all embargoed. So.
I've been playing monster games. I played through the entirety of Digimon Story Time Stranger, the new Digimon story game. It's alright. I gave it a 7 out of 10 when I reviewed it. It's a pretty decent game. It's just like it becomes very clear in the back half of the game that it's like very much running into its budget, where like they start reusing areas and then like just like putting a filter over the screen while you're in that area. And it's like, oh, it's a new area. It's like, is it just the same area but with a filter over the screen? So yeah, that's like it's quite a good game. I think it's better than any prior Digimon game. It is just, yeah, like it just does show its budget and there's a lot of backtracking and like padding and it's quite frustrating at the end. But still enjoyed it a lot. Pokemon Legends ZA, my review is up on Vookcast. You can read all about that. I have 55 hours in it so far. And we'll probably put...
Are you?
What rank am I? I mean, in the story, I'm Infinity rank. But online, I just got to rank K, which is the one that you need to do to get the fucking item or whatever. Yeah, it's a really, really interesting approach to Pokemon. I think like there's a lot of side quests, which I think is long overdue to have a side quest heavy Pokemon game. The map is on the small side, but like in a good way. I think it stops itself from being over bloated or empty, as a lot of previous Pokemon games have just been like largely empty. And yeah, I think the new action gameplay is really, really solid. I thought it was just incredible. So yeah, having a lot of fun with that. I also played Little Nightmares 3, which I did not enjoy much. It's...
You can tell that was made by a different studio.
Yeah, I mean, like, I haven't played all of Little Nightmares 1 and 2, but I've played, like, bits and pieces. I played through Little Nightmares 3 exclusively in co-op mode, because that's kind of, like, the big draw of this game, is that you're playing it co-op. And it's just so frustrating. There's, like, so many, like, slow little animations that it sort of forces you into. Or, like, there's a lot of trial and error and stuff, but, like, when you fail, which you will a lot, you have to sit through like a loading screen, and then there's like a slow animation where the character stands up, and then after that it's like, you have to slowly walk over to where you failed, and then you could fail within like 6 seconds again, and it like takes twice as long to get back there as it does to do it. And I think like it's only like a 5-hour game or so, like 4 or 5 hours. If you cut down like the the frustrating like slow animations and shit, like you would get through it in like 2 hours. Like it is, yeah. It was a frustrating game for me. But yeah, it very much shows that it is not the same developer as the first 2 games.
So Tarsier Studios made Little Nightmares 1 and 2, and then The Stretchers on Switch. That was them.
Yeah.
Then they got bought out by Amplifier, which is an Embracer group. Bandai Namco owned the IP for Little Nightmares, so Bandai Namco made the mobile game that nobody liked, and now they've made Little Nightmares 3, which people do not like. And Tarsier Studios, they've got a game coming out early next year. It's coming to Switch 2 called Reanimal. And so basically, if you want the real Little Nightmares 3, that's the one you'll be playing.
Reanimal does just look like Little Nightmares 3. Like
straight up,
I look at it and it's like that's what it should have been.
They've taken the gameplay of Little Nightmares and just like tweaked the world so slightly. So
yeah,
which I don't think anyone's upset about.
Yeah. I also played, what is it? We Were Here Together. This is something that's been on PC for a while. It's like a co-op puzzle game. I played through that with my sister. Her review for that will actually be up on Vookcast very shortly. But it's okay. I think it relies a little too much on color-based puzzles, which sucks for me as a colorblind person. And a lot of things are just like needlessly obtuse. But when it like does hit, it like hits real well. Like there are some puzzle things that are like just really, really cool and make use of the fact that you can't see each other's screens, so you have to communicate like what you're seeing to the other person. Now, you can't just cheat that by turning on game chat screen sharing, but that's you could do that on any platform. But yeah, it's technically sound on Switch, so it's a fine game. Angelo, why don't you tell us what you've been playing?
So my partner and I have been playing through South Park: The Stick of Truth in my ever-going quest to play games that aren't new. It's actually really, really good. We've been getting into South Park lately, given the current political turmoil going on in America, and trying to find smiles on our faces by watching South Park, which has been completely lampooning the current government. So on top of that, we've been going through the series, and I was like, oh, there's a game of South Park that's really, really fun. So we've been going through and playing through that. We're already about halfway through the game. It's very easy to play. It's our bedtime game. We've got it set up on the Xbox One, which is in our bedroom. We're doing that. We're still going through. We beat Borderlands 1, and now we're going through Borderlands pre-sequel. That game plays so much tighter than the first one. Like, holy crap! Like, that game was so much fun to actually play. And the partying up system online is really good. Like, it's basically just drop in, drop out, which was incredible to see on the Switch. I know that it's part of the actual game code itself, but the fact that it's on Switch, I'm just like, oh man, why aren't all Switch games?
But that was done. That was done by the Australian team. So development on that started at the same time as Borderlands 2. So a lot of the stuff that Borderlands pre-sequel has in it came from the Borderlands 2 team, and then they started doing their own things. And the drop-in, drop-out co-op essentially was one of those additions.
Yeah, it's really, really good. I'm really pleased with it. I'm interested to see if it's improved upon at all in Borderlands 2.
Well, it won't be, because Borderlands 2 released before pre-sequel.
Oh, did it? I thought pre-sequel was afterwards.
No, that's why it's called pre-sequel.
Oh, sorry, beforehand. Okay, all right. Well, that's why I thought
it's 1, 2, pre-sequel, 3.
Oh, so I've screwed up the timeline for us. Okay, never mind. Yeah.
I mean, you're playing them in chronological order.
Yeah. But I'm worried now that we'll go to 2 and then we'll get some gameplay step backs, but that's fine.
No, I think 2 and pre-sequel are like mechanically really, really similar. I think.
Oh yeah.
There's just a huge jump between 1 and 2 in terms of like game feel.
Okay, all right.
Then. Again, that's why pre-sequel was done within like 18 months of 2 coming out, because the bulk of everything was based off of 2. And then it's just the sort of just exclusive things that the team here at 2K Australia, which was a studio at the time, that brought into the game. And it's also why pre-sequel has Aussie accents on the moon, is because apparently everyone who lives on the moon has an Aussie accent.
I did notice that. I did think that was pretty weird that was the case. But apart from, I also got pretty into Hades 1 as well. When I was playing a musical for a couple of weeks a little while ago, and the way that our orchestra was set up, we're in a completely different room, so it didn't matter if I had my Steam Deck with me, so I was just constantly playing Hades 1 in preparation for Hades 2, and I still haven't beat it, which I'm really disappointed by. The game is silly hard, but really, really enjoyable still. Yeah, that's pretty much all I've been playing lately.
I bought Hades 2 on launch day because Supergiant don't do review codes for unless you're like the major outlets. And I was like,
That's
I'll
weird
buy that
because I got a review code for Hades 1 for Switch for Vooks. So that's weird that they've changed.
So the weird thing about this situation is that with Hades 2, in the US, Nintendo distributed code for it, whether you were on PC or Switch too or whatever. It was super weird situation. In Europe, it was just like a random small PR company. In some parts of the world, including Asia, Supergiant did it themselves, I think. And then in Australia, I'm not really sure who did it. I couldn't figure out
I don't know anyone who
was
did.
handling it. But I don't think anybody actually got code in Australia beforehand. So
And that's fine. I didn't get code for the first game, but I played it, so much that I reviewed. And I just haven't. I literally have it on my Switch 2, and I took my Switch 2 to PAX on day one, and I just never got around to playing it because I was busy doing other things. And then so I'm waiting to play that. I will say there's something that's quite hilarious for the Nintendo booth, and this is just a PAX story. They had Mario Kart at one side, then Hyrule Warriors, Pokemon, and Kirby sort of surrounding the booth, and in the middle was like the third party section, and in there they had Hades 2. Dragon Quest 1 and 2, something else, I can't think what it was. But they had this sort of thing, and then they had the R18, adult section behind the black curtain, as the Nintendo do. And in there they had Elden Ring, Borderlands, and Persona. So Persona 3 Reloaded, which is coming out in a few weeks. And what I laughed at is I was taking photos, and I thought I'll sneak into the little R18 booth and I'll take a photo of everyone playing the games in there. I walked in, and there were 11 Nintendo employees in their red shirts, and not a single person playing any game. And I just thought, yep, that seems right, because Persona and Elden Ring are out elsewhere, and Borderlands, it's been delayed on Switch to sometime in this millennium, so nobody really cares. I just thought it was the most funny thing. I walked in there, and all of a sudden I had all these faces like just turned to me like, oh, somebody might play a game. And I'm like, no, I'm just here to take some photos, man. So
amazing.
That's pretty good.
Alrighty. I guess it's time for Nintendo 20 questions. So Luke, you are the game master this week.
yes.
Which means that we're gonna struggle.
Yep.
Angelo, do you want to start us off with the usual?
Sure. Was this game developed in the 80s or 90s?
Just double checking, but no, it was not.
Okay.
Was this game released in the 2000s?
Yes.
Okay. Was this game released on a handheld console?
Yes.
All right.
Was it released on the DS?
Yes.
Also, fuck off with your. Oh, I'm just checking, as if like a DS game was released in the 90s.
80s or 90s.
Alright, so a DS game. So there's only 4,800 games that are released on the DS, so that should narrow it down a bit.
Did this game feature any online components?
That is a good question.
That's how I like to sort of cut things down on the DS.
Yes, it did.
Okay.
Would this game be considered an RPG?
No.
I was
Would
thinking
this game-
Spectrobes.
Yeah. Would this game be considered a puzzle game?
No.
What would this game be considered?
Yes.
Yeah.
Does this game feature Nintendo's usual character roster?
No.
Okay.
Is this game part of a series?
Yes.
Okay. Was this game developed in Japan?
No. And that's 10.
Okay.
Is the series that this game is a part of still around now? As in, has
Yes.
had a release in the past 10 years?
Well, he said it. He said it. He said it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Is it a licensed game?
Not in the sense that you're thinking of, no.
Okay.
So it's not like a comic book made into a game or anything like that.
I was actually thinking like maybe even anime.
It's not that either.
Okay. So maybe was it a series that was borrowed from another developer?
Or something.
Is that your
like
question?
Like,
No, I was asking Ollie.
Okay.
yeah. Yeah, it's a weird one.
Hmm. Is this game purchasable on modern systems?
No.
Okay. Progress update. It's looking like a Game Boy now.
It is looking like a Game Boy.
It's a bit rattly still.
Yeah, mine was until I sealed it in, and then it's apart from the screen thing.
I'm up to bag 4 of 5.
See, do you use weapons in this game?
You don't directly use weapons, but there are weapons in the game. So like you're not pressing A to hit somebody with a weapon or shoot somebody with a weapon, but there are weapons in the game.
That was one question. That was one question.
Interesting.
All right. So how many questions are we up to? And can you give us a quick rundown of what we've got right?
You've got 5 questions and a guess to go. So you know if this is a Nintendo DS game that is somewhat licensed, it is not a puzzler and is not an RPG, and there are weapons in the game, but you don't directly control the action of those weapons.
It's part of a series that is still around today,
Correct.
Okay. So we haven't got.
which complicates things even further.
Yeah, we haven't got the developer region or the publisher yet. We haven't got the publisher yet, actually. That sometimes helps a bit.
Oh, and it doesn't contain any known Nintendo characters.
Yep.
I'm just gonna ask, was this game published by THQ?
Yes.
Ooh.
Okay.
What were you thinking?
I was just thinking like there was a lot of like THQ published stuff back then, like Drawn to Life.
I've Drawn to Life came in my head as well for a moment.
Yeah. But I feel like that probably isn't it, because I wouldn't even see how that would be remotely licensed.
Is it like a weird like you draw situation, but like a licensed version where you draw like comic book characters or anything like that?
I mean, there is a Marvel characters U-Draw game, but that was only on consoles. Fun fact, U-Draw was created here in Australia. Done by THQ Australia.
Oh, so we killed THQ. Good to know.
There was it's tough.
4 questions and a guess.
The other one, like Scribblenauts, was another one. Was that THQ?
Who was it?
No,
that
that's
one?
owned by WB.
Yeah, because they had
did
a bunch of Superman and stuff like that in there. Could be that though.
That's probably, if it's owned by Warner Brothers, it probably wasn't published by THQ at the time. It might have been.
But it wasn't owned by. Who's the developer for that? Like Fifth Cell or something?
Yes.
And it was on DS. Was Nintendo the publisher of that originally for the first one?
I really don't know.
I feel like they probably got acquired later on down the track.
Yeah.
Alright, does this game feature you drawing as a mechanic? Or no, because you don't draw in Scribblenauts.
No, just do that, because then we know we can knock out Drawn to Life if he's.
Well, I was gonna say if it involves player creativity.
Sure.
Does this game feature player creativity as a gameplay draw?
No.
Okay, so it's not a Scribblenauts and it's not a drawy game.
Drawn to Life. It's a tough one.
Yeah. I'm not sure what else to ask.
Yeah.
So, Luke, did you say we have 3 more in a guess?
Correct.
3 more in a guess. It's a DS game. It's got some online components to it. Could ask if it has multiplayer.
You already
Doesn't
asked that.
necessarily have to be. Oh, did we ask that?
Yeah, that's why it has online components, because you asked if it had multiplayer.
Did I say multiplayer? I thought I just said if it has online components or
And
something.
you said multiplayer.
Okay, alright. So it has online multiplayer then. Alright. Is it a, what genre is it? We don't know what genre it is still, do we?
You have not got genre, no.
Is this a racing or sports game?
No.
It's like pick the one publisher that like published 600.
Yeah, I know, right? We find if it's like what other genres are there? Could it be like a rhythm game, platformer?
Oh, do you know what I'm thinking for like the licensed thing? It could be like one of those. Do you remember when there was like a bunch of games that released like on consoles, and then they had like the DS version, which was just a completely different game done by a completely different developer.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm thinking might be this.
Okay.
Doesn't really help us because again, THQ published like 6 trillion games.
A lot of those tended to be proper licensed games, though. Like, you know, a movie version of a game where there were multiple developers
Yeah.
doing that.
I'm thinking like, you know, Sonic had a bunch of those. I mean, it doesn't help in this situation, but like Sonic did have those.
So it could be the case, like I suggested then, where it was loaned out to another studio to port it or something like that.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Well,
you
like
could always ask if it's a port.
yeah, but it's not really a port, right? Like so, like
Or
yeah.
if there were other iterations similarly released on contemporary hardware.
But then like the game series still has to be around, and like I feel like that doesn't happen. Okay, was this game available as a different game under the same name on a different platform? That's such a complicated question. But you get what I mean.
I do get what you mean. And in the context that you're thinking of, yes, this game exists under another name on another platform.
Okay.
Under another. Okay, well.
DS, was it like a... Oh no, it's THQ. I was going to say, there was like that... Was it like the Dark Void or something like that, where there were 2 different versions? There was an Xbox version that sucked, but a smaller version that was awesome.
Yeah.
Or were they both on Xbox or something? I can't remember.
No, you're taking there was like an 8-bit version they released as like a joke thing on the DSi.
Is that what I'm thinking of? Yeah.
Yeah, because it's Capcom.
Ah, okay.
How many questions do we have?
One question and a guess.
I got no idea.
I'm just gonna play my Lego Game Boy while you guys think of your final question.
I'm thinking of asking. Okay, so my current theory, and this is a bad theory. My current theory
Always
is,
a strong start.
my current theory is that it's like Viva Pinata, because there was a DS Viva Pinata game.
Oh yeah, that was THQ,
It was like
wasn't it?
Pocket Paradise, and yeah, it was THQ, but then I don't really see how.
I think that had multiplayer as well. I think that.
I
I don't know if it was
would
online though.
think so, but I don't know.
Ah, but the series doesn't still exist today though.
No, that's true. Yeah.
It's a really good suggestion though, but that's the only hole I can find.
Yeah.
And it's not purchasable today. That's weird, right? Like it's part of.
I mean,
a
it could be
series.
like a cash converters or something, but
yeah,
you can't
yeah,
buy it
but-
on a modern platform.
Yeah, exactly. So like it's part of a series that presumably is still going. You can't buy this game. So it sounds like a classic Nintendo situation, except it's not Nintendo.
Oh, okay.
You got
I
it?
think I know it. I think I know
Okay.
what it is.
What do you think?
I think it's there was a Warhammer 40k game on the
Jeez.
DS, which is like kind of technically licensed, right? Because it is licensed-ish, but then like the Warhammer games are kind of their own thing as well.
Mm-hmm.
And it was on DS and PSP.
But that
is
is straight up. That is straight up a licensed game, though, unless Games Workshop made it themselves.
Well,
Technically, Games Workshop oversee them, so they're not like it's not like
it's-
Marvel letting somebody make an Iron Man game. Games Workshop are involved, but they don't.
yeah,
actually do
Games
the
Workshop,
creation.
like they like essentially commission developers to make the 40k games. So
Okay.
like it's, I think, I don't know if there's a subtitle. I just like it was the DS era, DS era. So I think like it could very well just be called Warhammer 40k like DS, but then it could just be on another platform as well. Like, I don't know. I think that's.
I mean, it's not a
That's my
bad guess.
best
You could.
guess.
I couldn't tell you, like, make any suggestions about what this game would be called or what it looks like or anything like that. But if you've got an idea, then I'd say go for it.
Okay, I'm gonna ask then: is this part of the Warhammer series?
No.
Okay, well I got fucking nothing then.
Yeah, I got no idea.
You have to make a guess now. That's the only thing you can do.
Yep.
No idea, dude. Just guess something. Or phone it in.
ugh. I'm just gonna have to guess something that
Yeah.
is 100% not right, but
Yeah, that's fine.
I got nothing, absolutely nothing. Is this game Shrek 2? I don't know, man. I got nothing.
Okay, that's it.
All right. Well, no, it's not Shrek 2. This game was released in February of 2009, developed by Kryptonite Games and published by THQ. But the design work was done by Ensemble Studios because it's a Microsoft IP. This game is Age of Empires Mythologies.
Mm.
That's such a good pick too.
Yeah, I wouldn't have gotten to that one. Or
Yeah.
didn't
Because-
get to that one.
Because the Age of Mythologies just got a new expansion in their remake thing. The mobile game, the phone game's coming out later this year, or just came out, one of the two. But what's interesting is Age of Empires 2, Age of Kings, is on DS, and it's real time like the rest of them. But Age of Empires Mythologies is not Age of Mythologies; it's Age of Empires Mythologies. and it's a real time. It's a turn-based thing, more like Advanced Wars.
Yeah.
So they changed the gameplay up a little bit, and that's why it has
know that.
multiplayer.
Because I fucking have it. I played it so much as a kid. I can't believe I just completely fucking blanked on that existing.
But you, when you were thinking Viva Pinata, like I thought maybe you're on the right track because that's one of those rare games, or Microsoft IP published by THQ on Nintendo, because Microsoft didn't have the right to publish their own thing. And it's also when people started complaining about Microsoft going third party last year with all their games coming to PlayStation and Nintendo, and I'm like, you sons of bitches have forgotten. Microsoft have been publishing their shit on Nintendo platforms since the mid 2000s. So, yeah.
That was a good one. That was a really good look.
Yeah, that was a really, really good pick. I'm glad that you picked that one because, again, like that is something that like we could have gotten if we just like asked the right questions.
Oh,
Like, that
I
wasn't
had no
out
idea.
of. Like,
I had no idea there was an Age of
I
Empires on
could've
DS, so I wouldn't have gotten there.
Alrighty. Final Lego check, Angelo.
I've got that much of it now. I have no idea what this is. I've got no
That's
idea
the
what's
thing.
going.
That's the thing that holds the card in. So if you take the cartridge
okay.
out and you fold the little thing back, you can actually just.
Right, and then I've got the screen going. So that's as far as I've gotten.
Look,
I'm close,
you
though.
you got pretty close because that's what it looks like complete. So you're.
Yeah. Oops. Yeah, so that's as far as I got. Got the 5th bag here and a whole spread of bits and bobs around here. So I got pretty close.
Alrighty. Well, that about wraps up this episode of the Vookcast and Angelo's building of the game. No, he's going to continue building the Game Boy after this.
He's going to put it on hold until we're recording the next episode.
Definitely not doing that.
He's got a cat. That's 100% not happening.
Yeah, it's not happening.
So visit the site Vookcast.net for all your Nintendo news, reviews, and everything in between. To keep up to date, follow the site on Blue Sky, which is at Vookcast.net. And jump on over to our Discord at bit.ly/VooksDiscord. Everybody's talking about Pokemon at the moment. It is great. You can find all of our social information and links for all of these stories in this episode, in the episode notes on whatever platform you're listening to. Thank you for tuning in, and we will see you in the next show.